Dragon Ball Daima came and went, but it brought back one of the most popular forms in Dragon Ball media that Toriyama had very little to do with in its original incarnation, and that is, of course, Super Saiyan 4. Today, I want to discuss Dragon Ball GT's original version of Super Saiyan 4 versus the Dragon Ball Daima iteration. Which one is more powerful? We're going to examine the scale, the time of training, the base form of each Goku, and the feats. Stay tuned, it'll be a good one. The art for the thumbnail in this video was done by the talented Jake Plays. Right now, his commissions are open. I will leave a link down below. Check him out. He is a tremendously talented artist. Don't forget to tell him that Danny from Geekdom 101 sent you. Celebrate both old school and new school Super Saiyan 4s with the then now forever merch line back in the Geekdom 101 store for a limited time. You can get shirts, you can get hoodies, you can get it even on an iPhone case. Celebrate all generations of Super Saiyan 4 and it supports the channel. A link to that will also be down below. Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball GT versus Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball Daima. Hello friends, today we want to discuss which of the two variants of Super Saiyan 4 is more powerful and why. We're going to be going into this myself. I'm going to be joined by Chuck. Chuck, what's up?
Hey, yo, what's up, guys?
Now, before we get into this topic and actually go into who's stronger, the first thing I need to do is establish the continuity here because Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Daima cannot coexist in the same continuity. They cannot be canon to each other. Now, we have to separate them. The thing that we have to first make clear is that Dragon Ball Super really has no bearing on this discussion because Dragon Ball Daima takes place about a year or so after the defeat of Majin Buu, which is about 9 years or so before the end of Z where Goku meets Oob. Dragon Ball GT takes place 5 years after the end of Z with Buu, even though the dub says 10, that's wrong. It's actually 5 years, which is about 15 years after the defeat of Majin Buu. Now, to simplify things, what that means is that Dragon Ball GT is 14 years after when Daima is supposed to take place. The reason why that's important is that we have to factor in that this is Goku. Goku has never stopped training ever, and those 14 years that Goku trained during the 10-year time skip, remember, we're eliminating Super because that has no bearing on this discussion, I think are a key factor in determining this the victory.
Yeah, so one of the things that is pretty important as well is base power, right? One of the misconceptions of the community sometimes is like, oh, if you're like a Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2, yada yada, you're at this power level, right? So when people bring up like, hey, what if Bardock turns Super Saiyan, right, against Frieza? He's not gonna do shit, right?
He would still lose. And TikTok disagrees with me, but he would still lose.
Yeah, and like you could literally have Super Saiyan 3, like Nappa, Raditz, and Vegeta fighting like Frieza. Like Frieza's gonna destroy them, right? Even though they have an insane multiplier, their base power is not gonna be great enough to really make a difference. So that's one of the things, right? Is obviously GT takes place way further into the future than in Daima, right? So inherently Goku's gonna be stronger in the GT just baseline. And another thing that actually makes it harder for Daima Goku to do anything really, and we're gonna get into the specifics of the scaling later on, but one of the things that really hinders it is regarding how canon is Daima to the other franchises, right? I mean, the other series. And the statements actually infer that it's supposed to be a continuation of the Dragon Ball manga.
Yeah.
And if you have, been scaling Dragon Ball or, you have watched it in any capacity, right? Even, gone into some debates, Frieza, right, in the manga, very likely a Starbuster. But in the anime, you could say he's like literally solar system level. Because in the anime we do see the explosion that wipes out Namek, it literally shines and is seen through a galaxy, right? is literally confirmed in the Toei episode summary, right? The official summaries. They say this is like literally the galaxy was shining, right?
There is a line in Dragon Ball Z when Frieza's in his second form where the narrator says he can destroy the universe. Now, I'm not taking that literal, but I know some people have taken that and used it in their arguments. You have to understand, and we've talked about this for years now, the Japanese really like to overhype everything. And so, when the Tournament of Power was going on, Jiren was the unstoppable. They positioned him being stronger than Beerus. And then as the manga continued, it seemed like manga Beerus was stronger. So, and they always have to like move the goalpost when it comes to this, but I want to make that clear. And actually, to your point, movie Goku is even stronger than anime Goku. But, is that really going to make a massive difference in the Daima GT debate?
Honestly, if we're just using like straight up manga scaling, like you can say Goku is like multi-solar, right? Multi-solar system level, because obviously he's several times stronger than Gohan, right? As stated, numerous guys are gonna destroy the solar system. There's also like a statement that talks about Beerus. I think it's during like Battle of Gods, when they're like interviewing Toriyama about Beerus, and he says like it would have been proper for him to destroy the Kaioshin realm. Now, even if he can't destroy it completely, just affecting it in any capacity, right, is pretty impressive considering that's like 1/10 of the macrocosm, right? And the macrocosm has several infinite realms within it, so it's an infinitely sized realm, right? So he's still destroying like a pretty large portion compared to like the living universe, right? So, not to mention in the anime, Goku gets hella upscale because of the PyCon afterlife feed, right? Because it's actually stated, I think it's in Super Battle Collection 2. I think it states that Cell is like stronger than ever before or something like that. And PyCon, just slaps him and
Yeah.
with his weights on, and then
Yeah.
Goku fights him in like Super Saiyan Kaioken, right? And that's like literally, I think it's like right after the Cell Saga, right?
Yeah,
So
right
it's like
after.
that's not even Buu Saga Goku, right? And he's already that strong. So Goku's already operating at like Cell Saga tiers and higher in base and Super Saiyan, even before the Buu Saga, right? So at that point, GT Goku obviously scales from Z Goku.
Well, if we follow the original, we have to eliminate the new stuff. We follow the original run of the anime. Toriyama himself even said GT was a sequel to the anime. So if we're watching the Z anime, right, we've got the 10 years of Goku training, presumably with Vegeta and whomever else, his kids. Then we've got the 5 years of him training with Oob, and then we have the beginning of GT. But there are some wild statements about GT Goku that we talked about it before we started recording about the general rule do stuff. And Goku, most of his fights in the early part of GT, he fights in base form, and it's kind of crazy that kid Goku in GT becoming a kid again, he's smashing characters that would have smashed the most powerful villains of the Z era. And that's wild to me that base kid Goku got that strong.
Yeah, and like one of the great examples is like when he's fighting General Rildo, right? He straight up states, against base Rildo, he's stronger than Boo, right? Now you can be hyper specific about which Boo it is, right? Now you guys already know my stance on the Kid Boo and Buhan debate, but honestly, whichever one you think is stronger, I think it can be either way, right? In the anime, at least, I think in the manga it's pretty clear it's Buhan, but in the anime, I think you can argue for either one.
Right.
You also have stuff like, Goten fighting Baby, like Team Baby, who had absorbed Rildo, right? And that Rildo was fighting. He actually had two transformations on top of the form where he was already stronger than Boo, and Goku is still fighting him in Super Saiyan 1, right? And then that Goten is fighting a stronger Baby, right, with Rildo and Lewd, actually. Then he turns Super Saiyan, and then Goku fights him in base, even though he's fighting alongside Gohan. And on top of that, Goten even states like, "Oh, this guy's stronger than anyone else we faced before," right? Which, yeah, I mean, Goten didn't sense Buhan, but he at least knows how strong Super Buu is, right? And either way, he should scale well above Buhan and Kid Buu, anyways, like Baby, anyways. There's also a lot more multipliers, right? For example, Majub, right? He's supposed to be a step up from Super Saiyan 3 Goku in GT, right? In the Baby Saga, right? Because he does better against Baby than Goku does, right?
Yeah.
Apart from the whole stamina thing and the whole body thing, Maju was just generally a better, was stronger, right?
And he still lost.
And then we see Super 17, right? Bodying presumably stronger fighters, right? They probably train or whatever. Even if you don't think they trained, Maju is getting his ass beat, and then Goku fights that 17, like actually, knocks him back and even like blocks a punch in Super Saiyan, right? So he's already stronger than that. Omega Shenron states that he is like 10 times stronger than before, right? Than Sen Shenron, possibly even more. So there's just a lot more multipliers that Goku has in GT than Daima Goku.
We're talking just from the Ruldo stuff. Base Kid Goku is fighting a character who is stronger than Buu. Whichever version is irrelevant because we haven't even gotten to Super Saiyan GT Goku, then Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku, who got destroyed by Baby Vegeta, and then we have Super Saiyan 4, who dominated Baby Vegeta and was still able to beat Golden Grade 8 Baby Vegeta with the help of his family. So you have to, when you look at all those multipliers, Dragon Ball Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku slaps Super Saiyan 3 Goku from the Buu arc, and even from that very same arc. Like, he's just a different level. The issue with figuring out Goma or Goku is because of Goma, because Goma himself does not appear to be the strongest foe ever. It's just that the third eye gives him damn near immortality. So Goku hits him with everything and can't finish him off because of that third eye. So we don't really see Super Saiyan 4 and Daima get tested in a way that would give us more information. But if we want to talk about feats, the biggest feat that Dragon Ball Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku was able to do is when he put the hole in the demon realm, when he blasted through all three demon realms. And that was incredible. He blew a hole in freaking Goma and just smashed through the entire realm. And remember, that realm existed pre-universe. That is a pre-universal realm. So when you think about it, right, when you really think about it, that tells me that there's a possibility, albeit we need more evidence. I'm not saying this for certain. There's a possibility that Goku might be getting into that universal tier already with Super Saiyan 4 Daima, because of the fact that how old the demon realm is. But GT Goku has all the feats that you mentioned. He blasted baby from planet New Vegeta or New Planet Plant into the sun. And do you want to calculate? We don't even know how far it is from New Planet Plant to the sun, but is it safe to say it's bigger than the demon realm? I don't know about that. What do you think? Because that's a hard one to answer.
Well, like I say that's like an even better feat, like not even like the baby one. It's like when he's like trapped in the Sugoroku space, right? Like that game like realm, right? Goku like destroys the dimension in base, right? That's pretty damn insane. And then I'd say like yeah, the Demon Realm feat should be like high galaxy universal tier for sure, especially because the Demon Realm is supposed to be like the reverse side of the universe, which is infinite, stated in the Daizenshu as well.
Even though it doesn't look that big based on what we saw.
Yeah, yeah, and like the thing is too, it actually gets even worse for Daima Goku when you consider like what Gomo is fighting against now. If you want to say that Daima Goku is stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku in most forms of Buu, you could even say he's the strongest Kid Buu or Buuhan. I personally don't think he's on those tiers, especially if you go by the anime. But if you want to say he's like above Fat Buu or Super Buu, right, or Buu Piccolo, I think that's fair, right? But the thing is, even if you do argue that, I mean, like just as showing that from the people that Gomo was fighting against actually kind of cripples Daima Goku because Shin was there, right? Piccolo was there. And, Piccolo didn't really get much stronger at all from the Cell Saga to the Buu Saga, right? Shin is stated in the El Manga Legendario, right? Officially licensed guy, by the way, in several languages. They state that Shin is basically around the strongest Master Super Saiyan Goku from the Cell games, right? And then, like, another thing, too, is, like, like you said earlier, Daima Goku was not really pressed at all in those fights, right? And when he was having some difficulty in the earlier aspects of the battle, it was more so because he was still getting used to his new body, right? And again, with a smaller body, you can't use your ki control as much or as well as you could with an adult body, right? That's one of the huge things that they even mentioned early on in Daima. Is like when Goku's trying to fly around, Piccolo's like Oh yeah, you still haven't gotten used to your form, right? And you still have some difficulty even after they get to the demon realm. But either way, I think even if you do want to say that Daima Goku is stronger than Kid Buu or Buhan, again, GT Goku literally upscales that anyways. And on top of that, it actually gets even worse for Daima Goku considering that GT literally has movie villains, right? It has Cooler.
I think that's the only one, right? It's got cameo. It's
I
like
think,
one cameo from Cooler in the
yeah.
Super 17
I don't
arc.
remember anyone else necessarily, but there is the Dragon Ball GT
There's the
movie
the
box,
Dragon
like the Dragon
Fist.
box. Yeah, yeah, that's true as well. He does have that technique, which was anime movie only, right?
Right.
Uh, and it's actually a really interesting thing. That's like the Dragon Box book, right? Which is official once again. But yeah, like the GT one, it actually shows like a timeline or like a diagram of the forms, and it actually implies that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta might actually be the same one from Fusion Reborn, right? You can also do like cross scaling, right? Because like a guide as well that compares Fusion Reborn Gogeta to Busaga Vegito. It actually says that they're like kind of relative, they're kind of rivals,
I
right? So,
remember that. I actually remember when
um,
that came out. The bottom line is, it seems like even early Baby Saga Super Saiyan 4 Goku, like when Goku first gets 4, when he first mutates from the Golden Great Ape to 4, even that version of Super Saiyan 4 Goku in a one-on-one fight with Daima Goku would probably win. And don't forget the 15 extra years of training. Who knows what else Goku learned, all the different combat moves that he learned. It's just it's still Goku. We have to remember that he's still a very intelligent fighter. And one thing that we know about all these fighters, Goku, Vegeta, all these guys, is that 15 years is a big difference when it comes to learning. And even if they don't get physically stronger, even if you want to make the argument they're not physically stronger, okay, it's still 15 more years of knowledge. And they're obviously way physically stronger, but I mean, even if you want to, lowball it like that, you know what I'm saying?
you could do like some goon scaling. You could be like, oh, like GT is like has like movie stuff within it, right? And as I said earlier, right, that one guidebook implies that Gogeta is the same one from Fusion Reborn. And that actually just makes it even worse for Daima Goku, especially in the speed side, right? Because if you do think that Cooler is canon, and by extension, like, the other villains are canon, especially Meta Cooler, right? Meta Cooler stated one of the guys to literally move in spaces beyond time, right? And that's like faster than infinite speed Goku in the anime, right? When he crosses like hell in
Yeah,
like pretty much no time at all,
when they're
right?
doing the instantaneous movement and they see each other. I actually like that scene a lot from that movie.
Yeah, it's really hype. And now you could argue if like instant transmission works the same in the anime to the manga, right? Because that like space that they go in is never showcased in the like main
Never.
anime or the manga.
Never. It's
So you could
only in
argue
that
it's
movie.
exclusive to that movie. Yeah, so you
It's
could argue it's exclusive to that movie.
it actually
Um,
feels a lot like the hit, like time skip stuff. Like it felt like with that pocket dimension that he made, it kind of gave me those kind of vibes.
yeah, it definitely does seem like an alternate dimension. And then yeah, if you go through that, right, just Goku would be faster anyway. So not only does Goku have greater base power in GT, he has way more multipliers to go off of. More implications that he's stronger than Vegeta and Buhan, right? Um, and then again, more technique, more experience, and then just it just it just becomes pretty stacked when you want to include like movie stuff as well.
Yes, the
Um,
more stuff you include and the more examples, the worse it looks for Daima Goku. All right, Chuck, I'll leave links to all of his stuff in the comments below or in the description below. Thanks everybody for checking out the video. GT Goku wins.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, well let us know, everybody out there. We'll see you in the next one.